Luxury Staffing, the podcast by Morgan and Mallet. How to become a nanny for ultra-high net worth families. Advice from someone who's done it.
Hello there, podcast listeners. In today's episode with the Morgan and Mallet podcast, we're talking to Ellie. She's from the UK, and like a few of the recruiters we have at Morgan and Mallet, she started in in a domestic household, and worked up and eventually became a recruiter, and now is placing nannies, housekeepers, and chauffeurs into households households similar to where she used to work. So, welcome to the podcast, Ellie. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Super, super. Let's jump into it. So, how did you first start working in private childcare? How did you get started?
So it happened quite organically. I started, as I think quite a lot of people did, with just a little bit of babysitting here and there, and then realized that I really liked that. I liked the one-to-one setting, and I liked being kind of involved in a family life quite well. So I moved from the traditional nursery setting into private households, and then I became a nanny. And then from there, it kind of just grew. Even when I moved abroad, it carried on and kind of grew from there.
Interesting. You said you worked in a nursery beforehand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
How was that? Was it good fun?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I only worked in one nursery. I was there for, I think, 5 or 6 years, from straight out of college, and it was in a private girls' school, like in the setting of a private girls' school. So we did take boys in the nursery, but then filtered in only girls from reception onwards. But I absolutely loved it. I learned absolutely everything there. I'm still very, very close with everyone I worked with, even the children, even the people I looked after, though they started when they were, some of them like 6 months old, and now they're in primary school. So yeah, I absolutely love my time there.
Wow, amazing. And what was it like stepping into luxury households and working
Mm.
for like ultra high net worth individuals?
It was quite eye-opening. I feel like my nursery transition did help me because it was a private school. So I feel like we did have already quite a level of certain person who was coming there. It wasn't necessarily like, um, every nursery which has kind of a big variety of people. So I did feel like I'd already understood it a little bit more, but it was quite eye-opening. Sorry, it can be a little bit intimidating, but I feel like once you do a bit of research, put your mind to it, it's absolutely fine. I would say there's more moving parts in like an ultra high net worth home. Often they have more staff members than say a typical household. So once you kind of can make sure you build relationships and be on top of things, then I find it fantastic.
That's interesting. Yeah, Morgan and Lorene both have said like a good characteristic of a domestic worker is that they can work in a team with the other team members, the housekeeper, the chauffeur, and just coordinate. So that's interesting. So, how does your background help you when you're actually, I skipped ahead. What made you decide to move from being a nanny and going into recruitment?
Mhm. Well, I love childcare and I still do, and I love everything to do with kind of households and that lifestyle. Um, I'm kind of moving on with my life a little bit now. I'm getting married and things like that. And the nanny lifestyle, as much as I totally adore it, it is a lot of being away from home. And just coming into this next phase of my life, I really wanted to just be home a little bit more. My previous family still in very close contact with and I absolutely adore. They travelled quite frequently, which is obviously incredible, and I did love doing that. But I think I'm ready to kind of settle down more and be home a little bit more. So I wanted to do something that I could hopefully be at home a little bit more, but still use the skills I had and the knowledge I've gained to kind of move forward into a new career, which is where I found Morgan Mallet, and I thought hopefully I could put the two together.
Interesting. Wow. So it's like a different stage of your life, and you needed something that accommodated that life. And I guess, yeah, like you said, your preferences had changed. You'd moved on. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Stephanie also said very similar when she was giving up the yachting lifestyle or yachting work and just wanted something a little bit more familiar, a little bit more kind of like stable, you know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I
carry on. Sorry.
I would say I feel very lucky. I stayed in close contact with my family, so I still see them very regularly. I still do look after the children, on the weekends or if they've gone on holiday or something like that. So I do feel like I've still managed to keep that aspect of my life, but now I'm just able to focus more on like a career that I can see, things evolving with. I feel like being a nanny, as I say, I do, I love it, but you can't really necessarily progress much more than that. Obviously, especially if you're in a family where there's only one nanny. I mean,
Mm,
are as good as you can be. You can't progress, whereas hopefully more of a corporate role, you can kind of progress long term.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And how does your background help you when you're matching families with nannies?
I feel like I get it. I feel like I like to say to my clients, sorry, that I was a nanny. I understand and can try and give them like my honest opinion and real life opinion as well. Like I'm not, making this up. This is the truth. This is how it is to be a nanny. I feel like I can also kind of spot red flags from both sides of it as well. If a nanny is refusing to ever, stay a minute late or come in a minute early or, change a few things here and there, it's not going to work. And likewise with the clients, sorry, if they are expecting the world from just one person, it's not going to work and they're not being realistic. So yeah, I think it helps me literally every day in this job to be able to place better people.
Interesting. And how do you manage when you've got how do you manage the clients if they are like if they have post or requested a job which includes chauffeur, Michelin star chef, and I don't know, 12 hours a day looking after a child? How do you respond to that?
I think just being honest is something I learned Morgan and Lorraine are really key about. Like, just be honest with your clients. You don't need to lie to them. Just tell them the truth because that's the best thing you can do. So, being upfront and honest straight away, and often clients really, really respect that. And we're not here to serve everyone because we're not the best match for everybody. But the people we do serve, we'll make sure we do the best job for them. So, kind of understanding what they need, and sometimes they might not understand that they actually need maybe 2 or 3 roles, or maybe they need something else. So just trying to direct them in a new direction. If they want to take that path, fantastic, we'll help them. If not, that's absolutely fine. But we might not be the right agency for them.
Interesting. So you just tell them straight, like, look, I'm really sorry, but this sounds like you actually need a couple of roles. Um, yeah, and just, yeah, I can understand how they would appreciate that. Now, what's one thing you wish parents or family officers understood better about hiring nannies?
I think similar to what I just said is, a nanny can't do everything. Often nannies who are fantastic, may I say, will do many things. They will cook the children's dinner. They can also, drive the children places, but they can't do it all. Particularly in the UK, nannies are often multi kind of people at the same time. They will do a bit of laundry. They will, cook the children's dinner and drive them to school, but you can't expect them to do absolutely everything. It's not possible, and it's not what they're hired to do. It's also not often what they're trained to do. So you've got to respect that they are. It's a profession to them, not just a job. They're not just here to do everything for you. They're here because they've trained in a specific field and they're really passionate about one thing. Of course, you'll find a nanny that will help you do odd things on different days. If you're running late or you need help with something because maybe your cleaner's not turned up. Of course, we're going to help you. We're here for you as a family, but it's to be respectful and kind of understand that we're not able to do everything. And the more you ask us to do, the worse we can do everything. We can't, spin 100 plates at once.
Interesting. And you said the UK, is it more common for UK households to expect a multitasking unicorn, as Rachel's called them before?
I'm not sure if it's more expected, but I feel like in the Middle East, especially from my experience, a lot of families will have a cleaner, a driver, a housekeeper. They have all the specific different roles because the salaries here are lower, and it is more affordable to have all these people. So, in the family I worked for example, I was the nanny. I was the only nanny, and then they had a housekeeper and a driver. Everyone had their set roles, but in the UK, it's obviously a lot more expensive. So like when I was a nanny in the UK, for example, we didn't drive crazy places, because in the UK things tend to be a little bit more close together. You know, we would walk to the local school and things like that. But we didn't have a driver. I would just drive the children, and we did have a cleaner, but she was more for like deep cleaning. You know, I would do the laundry, and I would cook the children's meals, but it's not expected to, you know, scrub the toilets or cook for the parents. Sorry.
I see. Right. I see. And what do the best families do to keep their nannies happy and for the long term?
I think overall it's making them feel valued. A thank you goes such a long way. You could have had the worst day in the world, but just to say thank you will make it fine. We don't mind doing hard things. No job is perfect, but you know, to say thank you and to know you're appreciated for trying your best for raising these children means the absolute world. And I know that every nanny would, you know, take that in a heartbeat. But I think above that, again, you know, respect both ways. It goes both ways, you know, boundaries, working hours, days off, things like that. Just, you know, it is a job at the end of the day. We can only give you 100% if our cup is full. And that means being able to sleep enough hours, having our days off, so that we can give back to you when we are working.
Yep. And you mentioned a bad day. What would a bad day typically be? Or tell us about a very bad day you've had in the past, if you don't mind.
Maybe we've had a sickness bug hit the household. We've got both children unwell. Maybe both parents are away in the office. Maybe they're in London, or if we're in Dubai, they're in the office. Maybe the Ocado shop hasn't turned up, and so it's just a bad day. Things are going wrong. I've had the washing machine pack in before, and things just mount on top of each other. But you know, and it kind of works both ways. You know, I've had the most incredible families. My family in London were unbelievable, and I love them so much. They, you know, would never come home and expect after something like that to happen for the household to look immaculate like it would normally, because they understand that things have happened in the day, and also children come first. If I'm a nanny, my only priority, my top priority is the children, not to make sure that the dishwasher's done or that the washing machine is getting fixed. Of course, if I have 5 minutes, I will ring the repairman, but it's not my number one priority.
Interesting. So just going back to, let's say, this washing machine broken, it's my understanding is like it's a bonus if you can sort this out and you can sort it out yourself. So you're not bringing problems to the parents, but obviously, as you said, the priority is the children. And in this case, like for the washing machine broken, are you just jumping online? Are you messaging the principal asking for a contact? Or are you just sorting it out yourself?
I would probably just sort it out myself. We have a very open and very amazing relationship. I know that they would be thankful for me to do that. I know not every relationship is the same. I also had a work card, so it would be no issue to just kind of go online, find a local handyman or whatever, and then just book him to come round at the nearest convenience. I know that they would be happy for me to do that. I do, you know, small admin tasks like that for them all of the time. So yeah, I wouldn't need to ask, but I might mention it to them just so that, you know, they are aware of what's happening, but not, you know, needing them to do it for me.
Gotcha, gotcha. And I guess when you're interviewing potential nannies, you might give them that kind of question, a situational question, just to test their attitude. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. You want someone who's also going to think outside the box, who's going to fix the problem, and not to always, you know, just give up. Like things do happen, and you do have to like sort of triage things. You know, what is most important? Obviously, if the children are unwell, then everything else can wait. And I believe every parent would want you to do that. But if things are running smoothly and just things have happened to break, or the Ocado shop hasn't come and things like that, what are you going to do to fix it? Because these parents have hired you because they need you to do a job, because often they are very busy. That's been my case for both my nanny families. They have all been working people, and you're there because they can't be. So having to load more things onto them at the end of the day isn't going to be helpful, and it's not going to, make the ship sail.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, and what mistakes do you often see in the hiring or on the onboarding process?
Definitely unrealistic expectations. I hear a lot of, well, my friend, you know, told me she has a cleaner who does this, or a nanny who does that, or my friend's person does this. You know, there's a lot of friends out there who seem to have crazy people who can do absolutely everything, and it's just not realistic. A lot of also unrealistic kind of salary expectations. They don't necessarily want to meet industry standards, or they want to go below, and you know, you can't have one without the other. You have to pay for what you get. These incredible nannies are educated and they have years of experience, and they deserve absolutely everything that they have earned, basically. And yeah, people who kind of want to undercut them, but then expect them to go above and beyond for them, it's just not going to work.
I see. And that just goes back to what you were saying before about just being honest, setting
Yeah.
expectations, being straight with them.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And we were talking about the salary expectations, and like in certain countries, like maybe the UK or in the region of the Middle East, are there shortages for certain profiles, or is it quite plain sailing at the moment?
We're always looking for kind of Western or educated nannies and governesses. I mean, they are incredible. Everyone would love one, of course, and there are quite a lot of nannies in the UAE, especially. They are not necessarily educated, but have a lot of experience. So we have kind of two different categories, two different like sort of sets of clients. They either want to go down the just experience route with less qualifications, which is a cheaper salary, or the very, very expensive but well educated nanny as well. So we're always kind of looking for more. Often it kind of lies on the fact of wanting someone with a specific passport for travel, to make it easier with visas, and kind of level of English or additional languages on top of that.
Interesting. Yeah. And so it's more of the clients demanding, not demanding, but requesting certain attributes that are more typically found in in Western nannies, such as the Norland education or Montessori education.
Hmm.
Um, gotcha. Okay, super. Last question. Well, penultimate question. How can parents build trust quickly with a new nanny?
I think being open and clear from the start, it's really hard to come into a new household, think that you have to do A, and then you're expected to do B. So just being super clear, understanding what you want from your nanny is a big thing so that they can deliver it for you. If you don't know, how can they know? Kind of being able to give them space to do their job. These ladies are amazing at what they do. If you give them space to do it, they'll be able to show you. Of course, I'm not saying that you just leave your child with a stranger, but allow them to do their job like you would with a doctor or anybody else, because that's what they're there to do. It's really hard to do your job well if you're being kind of micromanaged from day one. So just allowing them to have space and being very clear on what you expect.
Super. And is there anything I should have asked you, Ellie, that I didn't, that you would like the clients to know or you think they should know?
Mm, I don't think so. I'm not sure. Maybe not.
Okay. Okay, I did a good job. Super. All right then. So that's it from us today for this episode. Thank you very much for listening. And if you are looking for a nanny, get in contact with Morgan and Mally. You can go to householdstaff.agency, and there you'll be able to find the contact form. Give Morgan and Mallet a call. We usually get back within 24 hours. And even if you're unsure about the roles, the expectations, the salary, just ring anyway, and one of our recruiters can guide you through the process. Maybe we end up working together, maybe not. It doesn't matter. Just give us a call and we'll try and help. So thank you very much for listening. And thank you again, Ellie, for joining us. You've been absolutely a super guest. So much appreciated.
Thanks so much for having me.